Welcome, welcome right now to who's going to introduce our platform right now, the one and only Coach Blue.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Before I start, big hands and applause to Miss Ashley Withers, our colleague that will be supporting us in the chat. Tonight, we just want to give you an intro, an overview of what we supply or how we support our juniors in their and for their junior year. We also want to talk through a timeline for the school year, some tidbits and tips for your son or daughter as they advance through the year. Talk a little bit about exploring colleges, college resources. Really want to introduce the conversation about college costs. Touch on standardized testing or informing you about the importance of a checklist that we've created for our juniors. We have a fabulous team of 6. Left to right here is myself, Coach Blue. Next is Miss Ashley Withers. Standing beside her is Ms. Brycey Campoverde, and our department chair of college counseling, Ms. Stephanie Wong, and the fabulous Ms. Vaccaro, and last but certainly not least, Mr. Patrick Lorenzo. Fabulous team. And our team brings to you more than 150 years of professional experience. We have visited over 300 college campuses across the U.S. and abroad. And we are active in professional associations and members of several national as well as local associations who specialize in admissions. So your sons and daughters are very cared for here in our preparation, knowledge, and detail as we share with them throughout their junior year. One of our specialties is our college athletics advising. I am blessed enough to support and serve our kids in that direction. If you have a son or daughter that's interested in collegiate sports, please have them either check in with their college counselor. They can stop by my office here in the Counseling Center, room number 2, or email me at sbluford@siprep.org to set up a time to visit. That way we can begin our conversation, talk about our process, and hopefully get the recruiting process started. We are aware that some families prefer to use independent educational consultants. And if you choose to do that, make sure that they are credentialed. It would be a good idea for them to be associated with counseling associations. And some are it's important that they attend workshops and next period meeting, as well as introduce themselves to college representatives. We want to encourage them to do some research on colleges that they might find very interesting, places that they can see themselves attending, and follow through with the reading of our junior newsletters, follow through with the assignments that we will have for them through our school platform, and well as being in touch with their college counselors. The role of you as parents really is to be a wingman. You want to talk with them about the colleges and their interest. You want to find out what they see, what they want, and how best to get there, discover those things together. It's important for you as parents and guardians to stay informed through our newsletters, through SCORE messaging, as well as SI videos. And then one of the things that is super important is to start that college budget conversation. What we don't want is daughter or son to be in a position in their application process where they are unaware of what their parameters are for discovery. So it's really important that you start those conversations. We as your college counseling team are really here to assist in making informed decisions. And we do that through one-on-one meetings with your student, X-period information meetings. We help your students create action plans and how best to research and reach their career goals, answer questions for your students, as well as supply and answer questions for you too. We do what we can to provide resources that will make the application process easier, and we will write your son or daughter's college or letter of recommendation. Talking more about our timelines for junior year, Ms. Vaccaro.
And one of the things that's beautiful that you're experiencing right now is not only Ms. Withers is answering all our questions in the chat, you just saw the one and only Coach Blue, but we work all as a team with you, with your student, and with each other. So if your student's like, oh, I can't see and find Ms. Vaccaro, they could go to any of the college timeline going to look at. Right now, There are colleges coming here. You see that on the Instagram at Life at SI. College reps will be coming all the way till the end of October. And why does it stop? Because the colleges are going to be reading applications. We'll show you in a few minutes some other events, but if they want that hands-on experience of be coming in now, it's a great way for them to connect and discover new colleges. So important. They also right now should be researching campuses. We just had an X period with our semester. If your student has not your slides, and then of course, yes, finalize summer plans. Sometimes I feel I wish I could put it right in the middle, because yes, some programs, if your students are interested, have deadlines as early as December 2025. Just screenshot right now. Print it out, put it on your fridge. What is this CMM? It is our college money method. We, along with other Bay Area independent schools, partner with Paul Martin, who knows college financial aid inside out. He does his homework, and he does presentation. We have our own unique page just for St. Ignatius. You'll see in a moment that passcode to get in there. So please make advantage of taking advantage of this now. Why? Because as Coach Blue was mentioning, you need to have that money talk. But it's hard to have the money talk if you don't know how much money the schools will give you. Well, guess what? There'll be a lot of ways of finding that out. So November 11th would be one, December 9th, and the spring semester, we're going to have more. So you can see there's a lot of things indicating about financial aid and paying for college. This is not just for financial aid, what we kind of think of just like, oh, can you give me a loan? Can you give me some free money? But it's also about merit aid. Merit aid is like talent money, whether it be students' performance inside or outside of the classroom. And then we will have a college night about California public colleges and universities. There's so many details related to that. And more about the generosity of some schools. Yeah, did you know there's over 70 colleges that meet full need in the U.S.? Yes, there is. Then we'll also go into another venture of exploring private schools and out-of-state public colleges, right? Because every college is not the same, and we want you to find that school that's going to support your wonderful student. And then case studies is open to Bay Area independent schools in person, where they're going to present how they make their decisions. There's a YouTube video that we have made about the decision room. And so you can understand, like, why is a college picking this person over that person? So important, because there's that holistic approach that you will see time and time again. There's a lot of information, right? And it's like, it can make your head spin. But what we want to show you here is that there's a beautiful diversity of colleges and universities throughout the United States. And yes, we do have some students looking beyond. I even have some students looking at some colleges in South Korea, Ireland, Canada, the UK. But there's also schools that are specialized, from art and design schools, community college. If you've never visited Santa Barbara Community College, beautiful. And then also HBC. I
would certainly co-sign that. It is a beautiful location.
And a lot of our guests may not know, you have a priority of getting into some of the UCs. Yeah, like those ones like UCLA, UC Santa Barbara, going through the community college route, and you save some money. Again, we'll talk more about that, about the public schools. Thank you, Coach Bloofer, for that validation there. And then don't forget the historical Black colleges and universities, so many that are out there. And then also Hispanic and Asian American, Native American, Pacific Islander serving institutions. Those are schools that have a certain percentage of students from those backgrounds that are identified. I want you to kind of explore and find what is that best fit campus, not where you're deciding to go, but deciding where to apply. Decide where you're going to go. That comes spring semester of your senior year. All right, so let's tell you a snapshot of ways to research your schools, but there are literally this many. But it's a lot of information. And yeah, we have a year countdown until your beautiful students start submitting college applications. Yes, we already have students who already submitted college applications right now. So there is SCORE. If you did not get an invitation, this is a perfect time to email either the personal academic counselor or your college counselor will send you an invite. All parents and guardians must have a SCORE account. and their student. That's how we send all our information. We'll show you a little bit more about that in a minute. We talked about the fairs, but remember there's virtual fairs, virtual events. So yes, from your comfort, your sofa, you can do that. So please do explore that. Majority of colleges and universities do offer those events because it's hard to visit campuses in person, but you can do that. Right? I was telling some students, go on Caltrains, have a fun time during quarter break, and then boom, there's Santa Clara. You're lucky in the Bay Area. You can visit UC Berkeley, large campus, a small campus like Dominican University in San Rafael, and then like a medium-sized campus, whether it be St. Mary's College or Santa Clara. And a student could go do that all on their own or with the family. But the key thing is to have a sense what works for me and then what doesn't work. The websites, meeting with us. As you saw earlier, Coach Blue showed you that we have visited over 300 colleges altogether. It's a lot of collective knowledge we have that we share not only with each other, but also our students. And then also do know that you can also interview the campus, but not you, the parent guardian. You're wonderful, but this is the time that your students need to contact the college's admissions office. You can't contact financial aid offices, but all about admissions is all about the student because they want them to demonstrate who they are and how independent they are. So that is something that's really important to know. And yes, students should be already emailing those college reps and getting on their mailing list. We do encourage students to not use their SI email. Why? Why can't I just do it all in one place? Because we have a lot of protective filters on there and we don't want those emails to go to spam. So a lot of times students may use their personal email or a college email and just make sure they want to do that throughout their whole process, whether it be on College Board, their other accounts that they're going to create as well. And then of course, sources like YouTube, Instagram. Did you subscribe to SI College Counseling? Well, if not, do that now while I give you a little demo of what's called SCORE.
And if I could jump in really quickly,
please.
If you have not started doing this as a parent, it is okay. You're not behind. We are still early in junior year and there's plenty of time to get caught up. I think the message should be, if you haven't started, it's good to start having the conversations. And if you haven't started, start making plans to visit places along with your son or daughter, but it's important that they do the work. So I said you can take advantage of quarter breaks, semester breaks, quarter breaks again in the spring as you get prepared for the summer.
And thank you for echoing that. Next month we're going to have our National First Gen Day, and as someone who's first gen, I've never visited campuses except the first day of school, and I still did okay, right? But we want the process to be easier for all our families and students. And so whatever wasn't done, that's in the past. That's why we're here. We're presenting some information. So if you're very familiar with it, awesome. If you're not, you're here right now learning about it. And if your buddy who you watch the games with didn't come today, say, oh, did you subscribe to the YouTube channel? That video is right there. Did you look at the newsletter? So please know the main thing is just to start. And we can start and help each other through this process. So this is the parent screen. And it mirrors a lot for the students. But remember when Coach Blue was talking about assignments? This is a senior assignment, but you'll get assignments too where you would go to the form, and then after you click a form, mark as complete. So one of those big key items is indicating like a brag sheet about your student, so we get to know another side of that student. Here also shows you some messages. Yeah, you can go ahead and see the messages from the college. You as a parent, is Bucknell worth the money? So they talk about also that return on investment. A lot of students don't go through this process of reading and researching all this great fruitful information that they'll need senior year, because if they're applying for Wake Forest, they're going to ask, why us? Right? And one way or the other, all those campuses are looking at that. And if your student is very busy, whether on the play, they have a job, or they're on the field, well, this is something that you can spend that time once a week learning that information with your student. Remember, Coach Blue talked about, let's have the money talk. You see this calculator right here? See that calculator? Click it. Boom. It also will take it into consideration when you're looking at colleges, the sticker price. Remember, when you buy a new car, you go, hey, if you take off those rims, what price can you give me? Well, that's what this thing called net price calculator is. During the Obama administration, he made it a rule that every college in the United States must do a net price calculator so that you can explore it. And it's really simple. I'm gonna come back to SCORE in a minute, but you just put net price calculator, the name of the college, and you'll have that information right there. But let's go back to SCORE though. All right, so now back to the home screen. There also, if you have multiple beautiful students here, they'll also show you some more information about your students. And then this is the part that's really fun. You can go and discover different colleges. It could be programs on there, like whether it be summer events, it could be upcoming events. So these are those webinars that the colleges host as well. If your students have an interest in architecture, I had a student today who's a senior, says, oh, I'm interested in architecture. Remember when we were talking earlier about plans and extracurricular activities? Well, that's something that we want students, like, what are you doing to show that interest, especially if you're already interested in a campus, or maybe you just want beautiful dorms, right? This feature you're seeing as parents, also students see as well. But also the big thing that a lot of families use is this database of over 2,000 schools where they could use these filters. And, you know, this person here, I say, I'm interested in science, and maybe I want a medium-sized campus, and maybe I want a school that's in the Northeast only, but maybe Maine, because it snows too much over there. And I want a school not too hard, but not too easy. Boom. And then you have a list of schools, and then you can say, hey, I want you to check out University of Rochester. I hear they have Greek life, they have sports, and they have so many things. So here I could go, hey, I want to suggest this to my student. Lehigh University, a Division I school, right? That's an engineering and amazing business program. They even have an alumni office right here in San Francisco. So you could do all these great things. You could also compare the colleges, like Lehigh and Bucknell is kind of close to each other. And when you put colleges over here and you compare them, it gives you a quick overview. If there's a school that's missing, you could just put, let's say, if I want to see San Diego State, then you could even add on there all this great vital information waiting for you. And then here, just make sure that all this information is up to date for you so that we make sure that we have your email, because we'll also send emails through SCORE as well to families, and then putting in their preferences. So we just want to make sure this is available. It is so robust. And again, don't worry about what didn't happen yesterday. Let's just start playing with it today, because those baby steps now will make a fruitful experience for next year. All right, so let's get back to the presentation. All right, so now I talked a little bit about finding that financial fit. So in the chat, you're getting links from Ms. Withers about different events. Remember, we talked about the college money method. So there is a link down below, and you need to put this on your fridge. This stands for St. Ignatius College Prep College Money Method. So when you want to register for an event, use the resource page. Please go ahead and do that. Sometimes it'll be a lot of numbers. If you don't have fun doing taxes, remember, then there's My Intuition, where you just plug in numbers and see how it looks like. The only thing is, I do want to warn you, as my older children come from blended families, do know that net price calculator for some colleges, let's say like here at Lehigh, they need both households' income. But some beautiful schools, like UC Santa Barbara, or let's say UC Merced, or Cal State San Marcos, they only look at one household income, which is that custodial parent, right? So that's why you want to play this out, because everyone's situation is different on there. And what is this Western Undergraduate Exchange? It is a list of public universities from University of Hawaii, Manoa, all the way up north to Washington State University, where even though they're public schools, like University of Washington is not what they call WUI school. The Go Huskies, great school, the price tag's about $60,000 per year. Same thing, Go Ducks, University of Oregon, not part of WUI. That's gonna be $60,000 a year. And you can't get any state aid because it's public, very different from private. If you go to Reed College in Oregon, you're not from that state, but they meet full need regardless because it's private. They can make that decision. But public schools, public out of state, have a different situation. But if it's a WUI school, won't charge you out of state tuition. So Washington State University of above a 3.0, guess what? It's going to cost you $30,000 per year. That's the same cost as if you went to San Diego State University or San Francisco State University with tuition, room, and board. Amazing opportunity. There are two schools, University of Virginia and University of Chapel Hill in North Carolina. Those two campuses do meet full need, but those are very unique and very challenging, wonderful public universities. All right, standardized tests. You decide. We have a video on our channel called To Test or Not to Test. There are over, still today, 2,000 colleges that are test optional, and test optional means test optional. You do not get penalized. Now, if you are a junior, there are discussion from some colleges. Notice I use the word some, not a lot. Some that say, we're going to go test required. There are some schools for a while now, like MIT and Georgetown, that have been test required for a long time. Some schools like Stanford, Cornell are requiring, but notice that some schools have that, but not all of them. And then the best email to send a college rep, do you know if for fall 2027, are you going to still be test optional? And there are some schools that are test free, right? Every campus is different, like every individual, but we want students to have a choice and using their experience. Last year, they took the pre-ACT, used all those scores right on score as well, and it's labeled ACT. We did talk to SCORE. They're going to update that at pre-ACT sometime, hopefully soon. But the PSAT is October 8th. It is a mandatory test. They should download their blue book. Ms. Withers will be putting in the chat some information about preparing for that because they are competing for the National Merit Exam. Now, I have 4 children, and I would say 2 of my kids test, and the third one, okay on test, and then the fourth one, oh my goodness, too good on test. And what I told all of them, and we made this decision as a family, you do you in the classroom because that'll prepare you for the test. I do know there's a lot like, I had a student come to me and say, I have to take test prep. I have to. And you have to remember one thing for all colleges, university, it's holistic. They're not deciding on one factor, so many factors. That's something we talked about the sophomore parent night. You missed it? Don't forget, it's on the sophomore YouTube channel playlist that we have. So there's so many factors. It's just one indicator. And so we have some students who've done other activities. So don't add that pressure if not needed. And we don't also forget too that UCs and CSUs are test free. Yes, even if you have a perfect test score, whether it's ACT or SAT, they will not look at those tests. But AP exams, go for it. So they're just not using standardized tests for admissions like the SAT or ACT. However, we do know test registration can be challenging. Ms. Withers will be putting in the chat links to how to register if you say, hey, we are going to take the test, or they are applying to, let's say, the public schools in Georgia or Florida. Their states require all their public universities to have those tests. Then please make sure to take advantage not only of registering for the test, but we do offer only SAT school day. So on Thursday, March 12th, they can register for the test. How? Follow that newsletter, right? We'll send emails way in advance. They do have a deadline date to register that will be in the spring semester. So just keep that open on March 12th to do the SAT school day, but that is not mandatory. That is optional for students who want to take advantage of it. And I'm going to have Coach Blue chime in 1 second here. For NCAA, they don't require it, but what if you apply to a school like Stanford or Cornell that's test require, MIT? Then you still need to do the test. Coach
Absolutely.
Blue?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So as the students are going through their recruiting process, the first question would be, hey, is the school, do they require a test? And the second question that some coaches may ask is, okay, well, what is the student desiring to study? If it's a subject or a discipline that might require a test, then they may ask you to take one, even if the school does not. So it's really important that as a student athlete, they must plan ahead, have conversations about testing with their hopefully soon to be coach. So that way all parties are on the same page with what needs are, both as the student and for the college. And just to reiterate, right, the one of your takeaways here, I think, is to understand that there's a majority of the colleges out there that are not requiring a test. We are offering the PSAT next week, SAT and ACT. That's a question for the college. It's a question for a specific discipline of study. The University of California system and our Cal State system are test free. And we're going to be offering an SAT for students who'd like to take it in March.
Yeah, and Miss Withers will be putting in there the FAIR test. Like, what's this FAIR test? They provide the link of all the schools that are test optional. So if you're like, how do I find it? I don't want to go to the website. She's going to put it in there in a moment. And also, you could just your student could just email the rep. Thank you again, Coach Blue, for all that information as well. So what's your checklist? What are some things to do? One thing I think it's missing as a parent is just a couple of things. Have a schedule, and it's not on here, to be with your child. One thing that Coach Blue doesn't know, and I was so privileged and honored to be the college counselor to his wonderful children, is that time as a parent is key. That's going to give them the strength, not only during this college process, but when they're in college and beyond. So the majority of your time is just being what you've always been being, that cheerleader, that supporter, that guardian, that sympathetic ear. That has to be number one. Always number one. Because they need to know no matter where they go, you've got their back. And if the school doesn't say no, doesn't say yes to them, then that's their loss. Because they have a lot of winnings already, and for today and then tomorrow. But do have that college talk, like the money talk. And a lot of times I tell the student, you tell me a day, and then I won't talk no more than 20 minutes talking about it, and then that's it. Because they get it at school, they get it from us, they get it from social media. So, and they do need to have that information from you. You need to know, hey, have you done the SCORE assignment? Hey, have you done this or that? How was the PSAT? But maybe not that day. So pick that day, 20 minutes, so that college conversation doesn't dominate your household. You do want to look at your transcript to see where it is. That's a great way for you, even with their personal academic counselor. If they haven't met with their college counselor, how do I look? I'm thinking about this major, I'm undecided, I'm thinking about this campus. Because yeah, every campus looks at a transcript differently, including within the same system. So San Diego State looks at the transcript very different than Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Co-curricular is their activities. I cannot tell you how many times I tell students, please say no, so you say yes to you and your future. It's not about quantity, it's quality. So that's something that's really important, because there is a lot of extra work to do. They should be doing some college process. They can't say anymore, I have plenty of time. The time's today, and they should be spending at least 1 hour a week on researching and developing their process. Not you parents, but your beautiful students, but just 1 hour a week. Engagement with the college representatives, understanding who they are. Yes, that begins junior year. That's why we have the college fairs, enrichment programs and activities. There are plenty that are out there for free. Remember I told you I had the student talk to me about being an architect major? I met with the students in sophomore year. This is the first time he ever mentioned it to me. And if he talked about his interest, then I said, hey, have you done the San Francisco Architecture Foundation program? They have a free internship program for students, right? So that's something to help a student decide, hey, should I be this major or not? And then just trying to enhance their experience, not for college, but for themselves. Also, don't forget about scholarships. We just had one deadline just passed for the Voice of Democracy. Yes, there's scholarships for juniors. They could talk to both their personal academic counselor and college counselor. That's a great way to also win awards. We had a student who won the Courage to Grow scholarship. Yes, juniors could apply to it. It's every month. And they put it down on there like, hey, I won this scholarship opportunity. So please make sure they take advantage of it. But remember, they also earn scholarships with their grades. Remember, we talked about those merit scholarships as well. And not now, but spring semester, they have to think about that math, English, science, social science, or world language teacher. Who's going to write that recommendations like, oh, that student participated, or they came to resource peer all the time, or hey, they struggled at the beginning, but wow, they really stuck to it and just show this improvement through the years. It's all about this. It's about striving to thriving, but with balance. If you are not balanced, you're going to fall down those stairs, and that's not a fun ride. So please make sure that when you're checking with your student, ask them, are you okay? What can I do to remove stuff? Or let's just say some no to some activities, because if it's not giving you the fulfillment to thrive, then why are we doing that? It's all about fun. They're never going to be this age again. So let's have fun. I'll start with one. Where is information on scholarship and achievements posted? So that's we do individually for a student. And why? Because let's just say we have a student who's an artist. Well, maybe we want to do some of those art portfolio scholarships, right? The Asian American poster contest is a great opportunity. Voice of Democracy was a speech competition. There is one that's Prudential is about community service. So those will be some other great ones as well too. Before I go to these next questions, Coach Blue, any other feedback, especially as a parent of two beautiful students who graduate from SI, any feedback and wisdom about all this?
Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. One of the things we try to do is be open and be consistent with our kids. And part of that consistency was choosing a day during the week as we move through the process to have those conversations. We chose Sunday. That's our usual family day. We chose 20 to 30 minutes of conversation around it. It didn't start super duper early. Our kids were involved in activities that required a lot of time on the weekend. So sometimes we would do it throughout the week, or we were lucky enough in the car ride home. But 20 to 30 minutes a week, we try to have a touch point where we answer some questions. So I would encourage that with you and your sons and daughters to just check in and really be that wingman for them. The other thing is, when you start messing around in SCORE, it is fun. You're going to see places and schools and see ideas and opportunities that you might think are the best ones for your daughter or your son that you're super interested in. And it's great to have the idea suggesting it to them, yet it may not be their top choice. So as you're doing that, understand that there may be some confluence there, but at the same time, it's an opportunity to have conversations about, hey, what is it that you like? If you can visualize 5 things that you got to have on your campus, what might they be? And what do you see the environment like for you to be and thrive in that area? So I would just encourage the conversations early, whether it's in passing or structured time, and pay attention to those signs, right? One thing that will happen is, they're kids. And so as the thermostat starts to rise, they respond in different ways, and them really well. So I'd encourage you to just kind of pay attention to their body language and their communication, how they're communicating with you, is it consistent or not? And ask those inquisitive questions to draw out from them what it is that they want to find in the college.
Also, our organizations of different colleges. One of the comments was about colleges that changes lives. A great program. It was written by someone who just looked at colleges that transform students. The link is posted on there if you want to see that in the summer. Yes, so in July, they come to the Bay Area, do a presentation and college fair. So yeah, there are college events even happening over the summer, but it's a way for some students to get that more intimate experience. Also, Ms. Withers answered a question, but I think it's important to everyone know, I know March 12th is SAT school day. And they're like, wait, isn't that quarter break? So we do all SAT school days when the students are not in classes because we want to honor that class experience. You're absolutely right. Students and families are really busy. So that's why we say, and as Coach Blue mentioned, to plan out, how you're going to experience visiting the campuses and also having those questions that are important as well too. Now, Coach Blue, a lot of people are asking about test option. I'm going to make a statement, but I would love your feedback, not only for athletic, but how, your students are answering these questions. But the question is, are test optional schools considering test scores even though tests are not required? Yes, they are looking at. So if it's test optional, and I think it'd be okay. I'm going to go back to score because I know there's a lot of questions here. You always want to look what the colleges want, right? Some schools will super score, but on score, one thing that I neglected to show our wonderful families is the scattergram. So as I get there, can you talk a little bit about your thoughts about sending scores, not only for a student, but also for an athlete?
Yeah, the immediate response is, well, how good of a test taker are they? Are they comfortable with it? And they're different. SAT and ACT tests are designed a little bit differently. And the only way to know the difference between the two of them is to practice it. What schools are doing with those test scores are one of a couple of things. They're either using those scores as merit to provide financial support or money for students who are incredibly gifted in the classroom, or they're using that money for class placement. So if a student wants to get out of English 101 or jump immediately to English 400, they might look at that English section on their test score to determine whether or not they feel a student is capable of doing that. It's the same response that I would give a student athlete. What is it that you're interested in studying, and whether or not that's going to need a test score, and then and what would you do with it, right? Sharing with them the options with regards to money and class placement, or what schools are doing with it.
Thank you so much. So one thing, and I apologize, didn't show this later, but hey, the best at the end, right? So here is when you put in a name of a campus, whether through the discovery option, what are all these links, right? So this gives you a link to the website here. And I say, this is not my best friend right now. This is the AI intelligence that SCORE uses to give a general guide. Hey, is this a challenge possible school? That's a great tool sophomore year, but I'm going to show you in a minute where you want to use our scattergram. Just really quickly, this also gives you just general overview of the campus. Remember, these are sticker price. Notice it's a private school. A lot of students forget to look at this, like, questions coming up is like, well, how do I get my student to look at other non-brand name schools? Well, this uses a logarithm of other kids who looked at Lehigh. These are other schools to look at. There's also a map over here. So instead of going to a website and spending hours trying to find information, boom, you have information over here. You also could look at all the majors that they offer. So this school offers architecture, but a lot of schools across the nation don't. You can see what majors are popular. So your student may like, well, I don't want to be around a business major all the time. No offense to the business professionals out there, but everyone has a different one. But also they're just going like, wait, there's business, and then wait, what's all this neurobiology, neuroscience? If you don't know it, Lehigh University has a lab that's up on their hill, on their campus. It's huge, it's wonderful, it's great. And this is the part I'm talking about. Now, a lot of times students will just look here and they go, okay, I'm done. 1420, they're not going to take me. I saw my PSAT. Well, the thing is, what you're missing out is this, for our students, here it says the virtual intelligence. And they talk about early decision, which is a binding agreement they have to go to, versus some schools will do like early action. Let's say Clark University in Massachusetts, they could have the act to apply early, but they don't have to go to that campus. And then there's regular decision. So you could tell early decisions as a big incentive. FYI, early action is associated with a lot of merit aid scholarship deadlines. But where's this scattergram you talk about? Oh, what's this? Well, this is your beautiful student and their GPA. Now, Lehigh is a test optional school, so you can just ignore all this information and just look here. And you can see green means they got accepted. Blue means they got waitlisted, like, hey, we like you, but we're going to see these other kids we said yes to come first. What is this triangle over here? Well, this student was originally was on waitlist, but then got denied from it. These are the denials. So this is a possible school for the student. And if they show there, now if you're wondering, like what Coach Blue was saying about, do I submit the test? Well, if you had pre-ACT scores that are around this range, definitely. But if my PSAT scores come down where I'm down here, 1180, don't send those scores, right? So you want to make sure they're in that range. And remember, there's different ways of looking at this. You could go right over here as well. You could see how a lot of students, yes, went test optional and see the results for it, and they got into these campuses as well too. If you have multiple students, you can just click over here as well. So this is a great feature that is on here. So this is something that as soon as you find a school that has the support information, is this a challenge school or not? And if your student needs some help regarding that process, have them schedule an appointment. Now, the student does schedule an appointment. They need to initiate that with their college counselor. Please be mindful, there's deadlines a couple of days from now. October 15 is one of our big application deadlines, that not for us, but from the colleges. So this month and the next, which is the UC and Cal State deadline, is going to be a little bit challenging, but they definitely come and stop by our office. But the student will need to initiate that appointment time, but definitely they'll get all that during the spring semester as well too. Coach Blue, anything you want to add about SCORE for our families?
It's super versatile, and it'll provide more information for you than you need. I think if you did it in chunks, I think that would help. And start with small areas. Maybe you look at, there's a question from a family about, well, how do I get my student to get away from big name colleges or colleges that they see on television? Well, there's several different features that would help support that in SCORE. You can start by, using filters that might influence the size of the school or the location of the school. And also by including the activities and interests of the student, you will get a list of colleges that will populate based on their interest, which in many cases would be different than the ones that they see on television, or at least in addition to. So it's one way you can go ahead and create some diversity and experience, as well as look at different options for your student.
Yeah, and and from showing you the scattergram, I got a lot of questions about how good is this predictive thing. And they'll tell you what categories. It is a very brand new technology, right? Very brand new. So and this is, boy, Coach Blue, I think between you and I, we're almost, with our years of experience, it's almost a century. Wouldn't you say that? And definitely more me. Yeah. But moving forward, the scattergram is your guide, because these are SI students. So one of the variables in the holistic review is our school profile, how students have yielded to the campus. And I don't think it's just a number game. It is not. Because how did this person get in? Not everyone donated a building at Lehigh, but a lot of them will be that extracurricular activity outside, or maybe they took some free community college classes during their high school years, right? Concurrent enrollment's great, but remember, they end up with the C, they start off college with the 2.0. So that's not meant for everyone, just like the test nut is not meant for everyone as well.
And then right in here too, if you go up a little bit more, the class year is also super important, because what you can do here is narrow your focus of over the last few years. So we want to be relevant with the years that we're looking at with these particular schools. Are there trends? Yeah, you might consider them, maybe, but what's important is to have the number of years that you're interested in relative to the student.
Thank you so much. And remember, their competition changes every year, circumstances for the campuses, and also the directive of what the colleges want as well too. So that changes year to year as well. Now, you may be saying, where is my beautiful student's test score, right? For the pre-ACT. Well, that's going to be on the student's profile information. So that's something that they could find over there as well. So please note that those scores are on their score account. So that's a great time once a week to sit down with your student to look at that information. And remember, this is where someone keeps asking, where's the admissions intelligence is right here. But please, please, please really look at the scattergram. And as Coach Blue mentioned, you want to look here. And then guess what? Look at this type too. Because now, look at the number. Look at that. I'm going to do a magic trick. Coach Blue, do you know I can do magic tricks?
I knew you, yes.
So if I do early decision, look at that number. 100% got admitted from St. Ignatius. That doesn't mean every year, but this year they got in. So this is a great tool, but that's after exploring all of the different campuses, as we mentioned earlier on as well too. Okay, I think we have maybe just one more minute. Any last questions or information before we end this session, Coach Blue?
Questions?
Anything? I know there's a question repeating deadlines that were just mentioned. I think the only deadline is to start, right? That's the only deadline right now. If there is deadline for your student, their assigned college counselor will mention it to them. Correct. If you have an assignment, we will. Don't worry, they're already signed up for PSAT, but the only type of deadline is if they're thinking about summer enrichment opportunities. I know winter's not even here yet, but this is the time for them to look at it. Some are competitive. Santa Clara has some free engineering programs. Not everyone's going to get into it, but they may. But they should also have, just like for colleges, a couple of options too. And it's totally okay to just have a summer just being with their family and themselves and their friends. That's also a beautiful thing as well too. Anything else you want to add, Coach Blue?
And everything like what we've shared with you tonight, you're going to get bits and pieces of it in newsletters along the way. So we just wanted to kind of paint a picture for you of where we are and where we're going. You will be informed as we go along. Assignments that we submit or have for your students and score, you will be informed, especially if your student has not done their assignment. We try to include you in that, as we are using it as a primary mode of communication for the college platform stuff. So be on the lookout for those. Newsletters come out monthly, and you will be up to date with what we are asking of your student.
We have great questions. You guys are awesome. One thing is I missed the live response on practice ACT test being offered again. Not the practice ACT live response, but you could find the pre-ACT scores on your student score account. So they've been uploaded over there. And then another one is about who can we email to sign up for SCORE? Their assigned college counselor. So please, please, please have them reach out to their college counselor. If not, you could contact any of the counselors and we'll send you a link as well too. Anything else, Coach Blue, besides my thanks and appreciation for you presenting with me, with Miss Withers, who's all chat answering away, our wonderful team from our chair, Miss Wong, Miss Camperverde, and Mr. Lorenzo, and everyone's greatness. Anything else you want to shout out before we say goodnight?
Families, there's a wonderful team of counselors here to support you and support your student in this process. We are here for you, and we hope to reduce the stress, be informative, and help make things a lot smoother for you in your process. Ricaro, thank you, Ms. Withers. Thank you, team that's not here tonight. Oh, I'm sure is online giving us high fives and thumbs up. So thank you, families, for joining us.
Thank you, everyone. I need to see the wonderful Coach Blue. We have, oh my goodness, 15 minutes of Q&A. First, I want to say thank you so much to the one and only Ms. Withers for dealing with all those questions. But because we have all this time, I'll answer some of these questions. So if you haven't put some questions out there, please do so.